Hey guys, welcome back to the third episode of this MoneyNotes plugin series. In this episode, we're going to be working on the commands. There's going to be two commands, one being the withdraw command and the second being the MoneyNote command, which is a way to create money notes for, like, let's say admins or someone that has permission. They can create a money notes by just doing /MoneyNote and the amount. And then there's withdraw for regular like players who can just withdraw portion of their balance into a MoneyNote item stack. So let's jump straight into it. This is what we worked on in episode 2, the MoneyNoteHandler and the MoneyNote model itself. So we're just gonna go and create a new package. We're gonna call it commands. Let's work on the withdraw command first. So we're gonna create a class called withdraw command. And first thing we're gonna do is implement command executor. I'm just gonna do alt enter, which is gonna allow me to do implements method. Click enter. I can do all of that quickly. We're just gonna return true here, give us some space. So now we have the method on command and we can start working on the command. So the first thing we want to do is ensure that the command is being executed by a player and not a console, because this command sender, this is things you should know again, but I'm just gonna explain it really quick. This can be in an instance of a player or the console, so it wouldn't make sense that the console is trying to withdraw money because it's not gonna have a balance. So we're gonna make sure that this is the command sender is instance of a player. So once we do that, we can then create a player object using the sender, and we're gonna cast it to player because, like I said, it can represent different things. And now that we have the player object, we can start working on the command. So now this part is optional, but if you want your commands to have permissions, we can just do this. We can do a null check if the player does not has permission, and you can call this permission anything. So ideally we can just do MoneyNotes.withdraw. If they don't have that, then if they don't have that, then we're gonna do player.sendMessage, and we're just gonna send them a quick error message utilizing the color method, and we're gonna do something like this. You do not have permission to use this command. And then we're gonna return true. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is work on the command itself. So what I like to do is I like to just provide a comment here and put the usage of the command. So the command usage. So the usage for this command is just gonna be /withdraw, and then we're gonna have the amount that we're trying to withdraw. So that's gonna be the command itself. Now this is the command itself. Anything that comes after the command followed by spaces, so let's say something else here again, anything after the command is what we call the arguments, and the arguments are basically a string array, and it's gonna store each white space separated value after the command into the string array. So if this was, let's say someone typed a command in this way, they have /withdraw and then they put the amount, and then they have something else here, then something else here, then this would have a length of 3 because it would have this, and this, and therefore we don't want that. So what we're gonna do is remove this, and we're gonna do if the args.length is not equal to 1, which again is just making sure that after the withdraw command, player is only entering the amount, or not even the amount, but is only entering one thing after the withdraw command. So if it's not that, then we're just gonna send them a command usage, which is basically this. We're gonna send them this, which is, it's gonna let them know how to execute the command because they're not currently doing it correctly. So we're gonna do color again, do red. Oops. We're gonna add this and then do red. And then we're just gonna do that. So this is just gonna tell them that, and then we're gonna return true. This is gonna just tell them that, hey, the command isn't being executed correctly because you have more than one arguments, and you should just have one, and this is how the command should be run. After that, we can now go and work on the command itself. So at this point, we know that the user is entering withdraw and they have exactly one argument entered. So now we know that the argument we want it should be an integer, right? It should be a number because the amount is obviously represented by a number. So we're gonna ensure that that's the case and that the player isn't entering like string or like letters or whatever, characters, whatever. So we're gonna create an amount variable. We're not gonna initialize it, and then what we are gonna do is we're gonna do the try and catch statements, because when we're working with integers with input and output like this, we're always gonna try in case of an exception, and then we're gonna catch the exception and then do something if that happens. Sorry. So now what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to initialize the amount. We're gonna use the integer class object, and then we're gonna do pass int, and we're gonna pass the string because, like I said, the arguments is a string array, and we know at this point, like I said, it only has a length of 1, so we can just do args 0, indexing the first value in the array. So now that we've passed that, if that works correctly, then we're gonna have the amount here as the actual amount. If not, that means that the player entered a string or something that's not a value into the first argument, and that's not what we want. So again, if they do that, then what they're doing is essentially using the command incorrectly. So what we're going to do is basically do this yet again. We're going to send them the correct usage of the command to let them know. So now that we've done that, at this point we have the actual amount that the player is trying to withdraw. Now what we need to do is, first we're going to get the player balance. I'll let you know why in a sec. So we're just gonna get that, and how are we gonna get this? Well, we're gonna utilize the MoneyNoteHandler class that we created in episode 2, and we're gonna use the get player balance and just pass in the parameter that we set, which is it's gonna use the unique ID of the player, and then this is gonna return the player balance here. Why do we need this? Well, when someone is trying to withdraw money, we need a way to check that the amount that the player is trying to withdraw is not greater than the player balance, because that shouldn't be allowed. You should not be allowed to withdraw more money than you actually have. So we're just gonna use that. You use an if statement here to ensure that the player balance is always greater than or equal to the amount that they are trying to withdraw. And if that's the case, then we can go ahead and update the player balance. So we can utilize okay, so here we can see I actually left out a method that we needed. That should have been done in episode 2, but no biggie, we can just add it in here really quick, which is we need a method that's gonna update the player's balance, because you can see we don't have one here. So it's gonna be void because we're not gonna be returning anything. It's just gonna we could call it update player balance, and then we can just do player, and then what we can do here essentially is we can just do main dot get economy dot, we can do withdraw player, and then we can do, so this method from the economy plugin is just to withdraw money. Instead of this one where we would get in the balance, we're gonna withdraw, and you can see it takes the player, and then it takes the amount that we're trying to withdraw. So we actually need to add a second parameter and call this amount. So now that we've done that, we can go back to the command, and we can do update balance, we can do player and the amount. So now that we've done this, at this point what we know is the player successfully entered withdraw, and they have an amount that's less than or equal to their balance. Then we update the player balance, because when they withdraw money from their balance, they should no longer have that in their balance, and thus we need to update their balance. And that's what we're doing here by withdrawing the amount that they want to withdraw from their actual balance from the economy plugin itself. So after that what we want to do is we want to work on creating the actual MoneyNote model or object itself. So we're going to do MoneyNote equals new MoneyNote, and you can see it takes the value. So we're just going to do the amount, and then the signer, which is going to be the player dot get name, not display name, but get name. That's going to represent the signer. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to add the item stack, the MoneyNote item stack, to the player's inventory. So what we're going to do is do player.getInventory, the add item, and you can see it takes an item stack to add that item stack to the player's inventory. And the item stack that we're going to add is basically we're going to get that from utilizing the MoneyNoteHandler again, because if you remember, we have the create MoneyNote here, and we're going to pass in the MoneyNote object, and then this method is going to use the MoneyNote object, the information within it, to create the item stack. And then we're going to add the item stack because it's going to return it, and then it's going to be added to the player's inventory. Now, lastly, we're gonna add a quick message. We're gonna send a message to the player whenever they withdraw a portion of their balance successfully, so that they know that they just did that. And we're gonna use red because it's gonna signify that they have lost money. Well, not lost, but they're extracting money. So it's not gonna be like a color like green, because that will be gaining money. So we're gonna use red, put a minus sign, then we're gonna do the money symbol, and then we're gonna come out here, and then we're gonna do plus, and then we're gonna utilize the formatted balance because we want to have it look pretty, and it's gonna format the balance to have basically add in the commas to the number, to the amount. So we're gonna just pass in the amount that they want to withdraw, and then that's going to be that. So now we have if the player balance is greater than or equal to the amount, but what if it's not? We're going to do else, and in this case then all we do is we send a message to the player, and it's going to be an error message saying you don't have sufficient funds. And this is just gonna be run when the player is trying to remove an amount that's greater than or equal. No, not equal. It's always gonna be greater than the amount that they actually have. And that should be it for the withdraw command. So what we're gonna do now is actually register this command, because you always have to register your commands in your on enable in the main plugin. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do get command. We're gonna name the command withdraw, set executor, and then we're gonna pass the withdraw command, an instance of the withdraw command. That should be that. Every time you do this, you also have to add it to your plugin.yml, which we haven't made yet up until this point. So we're just gonna right click the resources folder right here. Should be empty. We name it plugin.yml. Gonna say it's empty. Your IntelliJ should just have an option to add the missing properties. You can go ahead and Control A to highlight everything and do Shift plus Tab and keep doing it until everything is aligned here like this. So for the name, you can call it anything. This is going to be the name of your plugin. Call it MoneyNote or MoneyNotes. The main, basically we got to provide the path to our your main plugin, your main class, that has your on enable. So in this case, it's going to be the main class that's called main, and that's located in me.meeks. So we're just going to do me.meeks, whatever this class is below Java, just do that, and then another dot, and then whatever your main class is. As you can see, it's within this one. So I'm just going to put main, and then you just put the version 1.0, and then we're gonna add one more thing here, commands, and then press enter. It's gonna have an indent right here. That's fine. We're gonna add the withdraw command and then enter again. It's gonna have another indent. Fine. Description, we're just gonna put something like receive a money note by withdrawing portion of your balance. Just name it anything. That should be that. So like I said, whenever you create a command, you always have to do two things so that it works. You gotta first register it here in your on enable, and then you need to add it to your commands in your plugin.yml. And with that, we can go ahead and test this out. This is the first time that we're gonna be putting the plugin into our plugins folder and seeing if it's working correctly. So what you're gonna do is go to the griddle. To the side, if you've been following me exactly, you'll see griddle. If not, if you're using Maven, then you should know already what you need to do to get your jar file. But for griddle, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna build. This might not run as fast for your first time. It's because I have already built. So at first, it's gonna actually load griddle. It's gonna take a couple seconds, and then it should just wait until it says build successful. After that, you need to just run this one. This is the one that you need to do to get your jar file, and then you just click it again, just wait for it to say successful. And then with that, you'll see some new folders here at the top of your file. You need to go into your build, libs, and this is where your MoneyNote or your jar file is always going to be. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just put this into a plugins folder. You can do the same, and then what we're gonna do is go into the server. We're gonna do /reload. Now that that's finished, we're gonna do /withdraw. Let's just do that. See, that works correctly. It tells us the usage of the command, because why? Well, we just did /withdraw and we didn't add any. Alright guys, the next plugin that we're gonna be working on is the MoneyNote plugin. And essentially, this is going to be a way to just get money notes without withdrawing from your balance. It's gonna be creating money notes without having to withdraw from your balance to have a money note. So we're gonna again create this one, call it MoneyNote command and then we're gonna do implements command executor again, alt enter, implements method. Okay, give us some space, put return true back because it returns a boolean. And then what we're gonna do is work on the MoneyNote plugin. So this one again, the console should not be able to run this command. So we're gonna do if player, if the sender, instance of player. Then we're gonna create a player object. Pass it to player, and then again, if you want, we can add permissions. So if the player does not have permission to, we can call it like MoneyNotes dot, let's do MoneyNote because that's the name of the command. And then if they don't have that, then we're just gonna use the same thing. Yeah, just copy this. Again, we're gonna copy this. It's gonna be similar for the most part, so we're just gonna copy this. We're gonna change this to MoneyNote, and then the amount, change this to MoneyNote. And then what we're gonna do here is do the same thing, create an amount, integer amount. Try to do we're gonna try to do amount is equal to integer pass int. If you remember, did this args and then re-index the first integer. If not, that means they entered a string or something that's not a valid number. So we're just gonna do we're just gonna send them the error message again, the usage message here, right here. That should be that. So now at this point we have the actual amount that the player is trying to create for the MoneyNote. And then we just do MoneyNote equals new MoneyNote. We go ahead and create the MoneyNote model, since we don't have to do anything relating to a player's balance, because this is just going to be a way to strictly create a MoneyNote of a certain amount. So first thing we're going to do, pass the amount in, and then the signer, again, we're not using a player. So we're just gonna call this like the bank. You can call it anything. We're just gonna use it as the bank, and then we're gonna create the item stack. We're gonna import the class from bucket. We're gonna call it MoneyNote item stack. It's a bit long, but it works. And then we're gonna again utilize the handler to create the MoneyNote item stack by passing in the MoneyNote into the method, and that returns the item stack. And then we're gonna do player.getInventory.addItem and then pass the MoneyNote item stack in. And yeah, that should be it for the MoneyNote command. So we can go ahead and test this by first registering the command here in our main get command MoneyNote set executor new MoneyNote command. Then we gotta go to the plugin.yml and then add it here, all MoneyNote description, create a MoneyNote item. That's simple, and we can go ahead and run jar and add it to our plugins folder. And again, whenever you run this, you don't have to, it removes this and adds it back, like it updates it, it overwrites it, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. Once you run it, then you can just drag it into your plugins folder. So now we can just reload. And now that it's completed, we should have slash money notes. There we go. Now we can just create money notes of any amount. And yeah, it says bank 100,000. And yeah, that is it. So we've successfully created two commands, one being where we can withdraw from our balance, and one where we can create item stacks of any value. And again, we added permissions to them so that you can add the permissions to a group if you have a specific like group plugin, group manager plugin. Then we can use that to set the permissions to specific groups that you may have. And therefore, if you don't want that, then you can just remove it like I said. And we can test that really quick, because if I go ahead and de-opt myself, you can see if I go ahead and try to use this, I'm not opt. As you can see, if I do opt, so it says you don't have the permission to use this command because I'm not opt. But if I add the command to a group that I was, or if I just opt myself, because when you're opt, you have every permission, you can see I'm able to do the command. So hopefully this episode made sense. Hopefully you guys are following along with this series. And in the next episode, we're gonna finish it up by making these items useful by right-clicking them and having the balance within the item stack get added to your player balance. Right now that doesn't work because yeah, there's no listeners for it, but more on that in the next episode. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a like. Thank you for the support. Like I said, this is the 4th series on my channel, and I'm actually surprised we broke 100 views on the 1st episode, and we're 50 views on the second episode. So I hope you guys keep supporting me and sharing. If you have any friends that would like to learn this, share it with them. And yeah, thank you guys again, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.